Hello and welcome to The Truth Shall Make Ye Fret, a podcast in which we are usually reading and recapping every book from Terry Pratchett's Discworld series, one at a time in chronological order. I'm Joanna Hagan.
And I'm Francine Carrel.
Oh, and I'm Marc Burrows. Hi, I'm Marc Burrows.
We have a special bonus guest.
Yeah. As hinted at, we managed to get somebody who knows what they're talking about on the podcast yet again for the second time. And today we're going to talk about The Watch, as promised.
Our initial reaction, not our big in-depth episode by episode.
Correct, because I was not taking notes.
But the Watch could have done the same thing. It could have been really televisual and stick true to certain elements of the spirit of the books. Because I actually think it does mirror the spirit of the books, just not the detail in places. But in other places, it just fails miserably, and it kind of falls between those two stalls of. It's not a great TV show because it kind of jumps for being a great TV show and misses. It kind of grasps the cliff edge and then falls off. Yeah. Whereas, but it abandons all this and like jettisons a load of stuff that it could have needed in order to make that jump, and fails in the jump.
Yes. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I laughed out loud a few times during, but not as much as I could tell they wanted me to, if that makes sense. And I think I didn't.
And there was some really cringy dialogue moments as well, like huge points to Laura Rossi for playing Sybil and managing to make that character that badass while delivering some of the cringiest lines.
Yeah, that character could have been awful, but she's brilliant in it.
Yeah,
she's so good, she makes it work. But the line about saddling up ponies because I ride hard made me crawl inside myself and die slightly.
Oh, sorry, I'm just eating my own fist here.
Exactly.
It's awful. Yeah, there's and it's weird. Like the humor is an interesting aspect of it because there aren't that many jokes from the. You think they'd keep jokes, but there aren't that many jokes from the book. There's that line that was in the trailer, and it's a really good showcase of Joe Eaton Kent's timing. And as a comic actor, where they're where Cheery, it's echoing the scene in Men at Arms where they give Vimes the coffee. And and Cheery says something along the lines of, "Have you seen the Goblin yet? His name is Trevor, and he cannot be reasoned with." And it's a funny line, and it's delivered very well, but it's not by any stretch a line from the book, and it's a completely different type of humor. Like it's surrealist, offbeat. It's not grounded in the story. It's
as you mentioned Mighty Boosh earlier, like you can imagine Noel Fielding delivering that line
exactly.
Exactly,
yeah. And there is actually, I think there's actually a lot of Vince Noir in the Cheery of the show.
Yeah,
in a good way.
Yes, slightly more grounded version of. No, I didn't. I think I probably enjoyed that character the most, actually.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, it's just the pure novelty of it, and not because they were so different from the Cheery in the books. I wasn't making the same comparisons I was with Vimes, and I could enjoy the character as a new one.
That's absolutely true. I don't mind the theory. This is why I differ from a lot of fans who hated the idea of that you take bits from different books, you would change the story and you'd recast the characters and change things. I was prepared to accept that. I didn't mind it. But if it had been done really well, and what I think was the biggest missed opportunity of the whole project was that you take these stories that have broad brush big jokes and silly stuff and big action set pieces, but actually the characters are nuanced. The plots are really delicately constructed. They tick, like Neil Gaiman's quite about ticking like Swiss watches. They work really well. There's real, particularly in the later ones, there's real depth to them and real detail, and nothing in a Discworld novel ever doesn't make sense. It always works in of itself. You never have that moment where you go, hang on, but if that's like that, how come that's like that? Like the thing we were just talking about with how can Carrot be unusual for being a tall dwarf and Cheery not being unusual for being a tall dwarf? Like there's nothing in the books like that that jars in that way. Pratchett was too good for that. He would just his mind was too meticulous.
Yeah, like if Pratchett had written that, it would have been, and Carrot's grown up being called headbanger or whatever his whole life, and now he's meeting this dwarf who's apparently grown up tall, and it hasn't been an issue for them, and that's the thing.
Yeah, but, make it a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Pratchett never did that. He never did it. He never left anything on the table that wasn't used. He never underserved his characters. He never set up plots that didn't quite work or weren't resolved. Like I'm not saying that his writing is perfect. I'm not saying there aren't faults and there aren't that some of it hasn't aged as I know you talk a lot on the podcast about the elements, especially in the older books, that haven't aged particularly well. And let's not let him off the hook. But the plots work.
Yeah,
and
he's a very good editor. He edited his own work very well.
Yeah.
Like over and over again, obsessively.
And that's the thing with the show. It doesn't feel edited. Yeah. It doesn't feel satisfying. Like it's got a lot of stuff that doesn't bear close scrutiny.
Say no. Don't let us detain you.
Oh, do you want me to say it?
Yeah. Sorry. Oh. Obviously, you should know where I'm looking on my screen. That makes sense.
I was going to say and follow me on OnlyFans. I don't have an OnlyFans. There is just not the demand. Or do I? Don't let me detain you.